going to see the Nyx first. Just as kind of a note to the previous sets, the Scythe is getting the job done. And I think that's what you're probably going to need here to get those explosive plays against someone like Godly.
Yeah, I mean, we already saw the Scythe do really well against Godly. Acno was able to steal a stock out in the last set, but this time Godly, he's ready and roaring to go as he is swinging on Neeze with his sword.
You said steal a snack for a second. Like, did you just go into his cupboard to just take his food out? It's like, is that what they say in use? Is it a cupboard? Like, is that what it is? I don't know. Well, right now, the snack is trying to get that W. It's going to taste good if you try to get a W against Godly. He already has one here against Acno today, so it's not impossible.
Yeah, I mean, looking like a goldfish, the snack that smiles back. But Neeze trying to get the dodge read. It's going to be Godly with the punish. Downlight side air, not quite enough. He goes down. Doesn't fear the gravity cancel end sig from Neeze.
Recovery getting the job in here either, but this is an incredibly close start, but he's going to get smacked away by the D-Sig immediately. Even though Godly's hit ratio on that hasn't been the best, it's still the fear factor, because that move in and of itself is a jump scare.
Yeah, it comes out so quick, and honestly, just like the sound effect of it can really, put some fear into you.
Turn the headphones down when you're fighting a Suri.
But Neeze does find that side air, finishes off the stock of Godly, and this time leading a little bit more into that Scythe.
Trying to look at Enlight Nair, just trying to get consistent damage right now, but here goes Neeze. Are we going to see the D-Light at the ledge? No, decides to give it to side light to catch Godly, which, to be honest, that was actually almost a good read. It just barely missed.
No, but this time, ground pound doesn't hit the down air. Godly back up onto the stage, wants this sword to respond to the sights.
I think Godly's sword play has just been so phenomenal so far. It's been a big part of what's just smacked everyone away, consistent damage, and I think that's the most difficult thing, is that once Godly's constantly reading you over and over again, you know those two pieces are always going to hit, but he's also gotten some really good reads out of ground pound plays as well from sword. But this is impressive by Neeze, where once again, here on Stock 2, Duke, where they are at even damage.
Yeah, I mean, Neeze is definitely keeping this even, especially like given the set count history being in favor of Godly. Like, you'd expect him to kind of start to run away with this one. He does get the downlight ground pound, but still, this is far from a Godly W guaranteed, at least.
100%. I mean, I think that Blasters were the next one. No, it's going to be Scythe, okay, but one solid play. Maybe a reversal here on the attempted ground pound from Godly. Do we see something off the wall? No stare off the wall. He was looking for that volley. But Godly now piecing it together, going for the dodge in place read for that ground pound. Doesn't find it, but that's one way to kind of scare Neeze out of potentially trying to find that KO.
Yeah, Neeze has got to be careful around that, because Godly got so much momentum off his guitars. Great damage built up, downlight recovery. Still keeping those guitars as Neeze needs to find a finisher here.
If you aren't kidding on that, weapon toss down will be enough to finally get the job done, but took so much already in the darker orange going into this last stock. But pretty much similar to Acno, this was kind of where the damage was most of the time on last stock, and Acno would bring it back, so I'm not going to count him out just yet.
Yeah, definitely far from over. Neeze has stolen stocks from many opponents before with this Nyx, but a downlight recovery, and Godly's not going to give him the opportunity. He's up 1-0.
Simplicity is key. Simple and clean behavior. Making sure you get those D-Light stairs, those D-Light recoveries. Nothing too complicated out of Godly, which is kind of crazy because we're normally seeing the incredibly big reads that Godly will go for sometimes because he just knows. But at this point, I think he's just decided with the meta, with a lot of the range that people have nowadays too, especially trying to solve that bow that was giving him problems, he's going to make it work here. But now all of a sudden, I have at least one round of bias. We're going to get Neeze switching over to the Tezca as we go into game number 2.
This is definitely an interesting swap from Neeze. Like, to me, this feels like a salt pick. Like, he's still mad about his loss to Machete, and he's like, fine, I'll play the Tezca too, and I'll show everyone how broken this character is. But really, he's got to show it against someone of Godly's caliber.
And even away from the salt pick too, having something like this where you could get a lot of reward on hit like this, it might be what you need, because it's been so hard to hit Godly that if you're not hitting him at least 3 to 4 times when you do, you're not going to get the win. So switching it up, maybe the combo base will help him out.
But Godly has a lot of potential to play that safe game. You can see him kind of trying to outspace these boots, but the side sig hits high enough. Godly does manage to get back to the stage. Neeze with a neutral light keeps him in the open air.
I like the attempts from Neeze there too, going for the late falling there to try and get a side air out of it if he pokes his head up above the ledge a little bit too early. But Neeze is holding the damage lead, goes for it, and he does not get around the ground spot. You have to watch out for the fall as he catches him, making a missed space, and Neeze strikes first.
That splash coming out, the frog splash from Neeze on the Tezca is going to give him that initial stock, and unfortunately Godly was not able to get a lot of damage here.
And look at that Nair to Sarah, just keeping that damage going. Neeze is building this up very well right now. So this is, I think this is the big difference. He was able to get some wins in neutral before. Oh my God, I respect it. I love the attempt. The side sig doesn't find its mark, but that would have probably taken that out.
Yo, but the down sig will connect. Godly is getting pieced up. You know what? Neeze, maybe the salt pick worked because he is up 3 stocks to 1 against Godly.
This is a phenomenal counter pick coming out from him right now. This is a very different game between these two. Looking for him, trying to drop back down, does not find the ground pound, but either way, it doesn't matter. He keeps catching these end lights. He's catching the side lights now too. Godly has not been able to space around it.
And I love the way that Neeze is going in. He's going for downlight nair as his predominant route, and then he'll go in, hit the side air, and keep it going. He's been so effective at it. Godly avoids the side sig, hits the dare, and yep, will get the stock. So he's not going to get 3 stocked here, but he is playing very far behind.
Yeah, just know I'm stealing most of these strings that he's landing right now. These have been so consistent, and Godly is, I think his hand has been forced over to guitars. I think he needs to try to answer back with another solid string of his own and just kind of make Neeze stop running at him because the sword hasn't been enough to box him out.
Yeah, I mean, really not a lot from Godly has been that effective. Downlight side air this time coming out from Neeze. He didn't touch, and Neeze is going to take game number 2 with 2 stocks to his name.
That was as much of a difference between a game that I've ever seen. Look, I just caught him on the back. You have to be careful about when that grounded splat comes through. But that first game compared to that second one looked night and day. It's like that first one didn't exist at all. And Godly actually not taking a second to think about maybe a character swap or anything. He's going to just run it right back here with the Asuri.
Yeah, Godly has been pretty stubbornly attached to this Asuri for a hot minute here. He's been sticking with it, and we'll see if he's found some sort of adjustment because Neeze had so much control in that last one, but right now it's Neeze on the gauntlets. We didn't see too much of the gauntlets in that last game.
Yeah, but we are going to take a trip, by the way, from Demon Island as well, go over here to Lions, and I think part of it is he probably, A, wants a different spot to land because he was having a really hard time landing in front of Teska, but also that I think the room that Neeze had to work with was a little bit too much to his liking. So instead, when he puts him in advantage like this, look at this. Like Neeze has had quite a bit of he's had a hard time actually landing here at the start of game 3.
Yeah, I mean, also Godly's been able to maintain a lot more weapon control because of the map is a little bit closer. Doesn't have to go as far to steal those weapons away. Nice little side air, keeps Neeze on the outside. He needs to get this stock, otherwise Neeze is going to start finding that momentum, and he's finding it. Sig connects.
Weapon toss down, finishes it too. That was so good from Neeze. Decided to commit to it. Every other time he would go for GC side sig instead, and he caught him slipping right there. He had like, he was kind of had no right to take that first stock with the way Godly was playing first, but Neeze has been playing so good that he brought it right back.
Yeah, it's just like when Neeze is on gauntlets, Godly has the time, he's got the opportunity. But once Neeze has those boots, you got to start respecting it because Neeze is able to put out so much damage so quickly.
They're made for walking. He's currently walking all over Godly at the moment, but Godly is definitely playing significantly better here in this game. That's the scary part. You may beat Godly in the game prior, but it's about the data that Godly got out of your character swap that's going to happen in the next one. Granted, that data is currently not downloading. He is getting pieced up as well now by the gauntlets.
Yeah, man's getting throttled by his ISP because he is struggling against Neeze. He is not finding the download. Neeze starting to throw out quite a bit of attacks, but Godly is not finding any punishes.
Godly finally, he gets one side light. That's not normal. Usually when Godly sees a whiff, he's getting a solid 3 out of it. But gonna avoid the side light at the ledge. Meanwhile, he's just kind of waiting for him to poke his head above the ledge. Does instead get weapon tossed in this air. It's a good opportunity here for Godly.
Dude, there was a hot minute there. Oh, down air, able to hit that side air as well. Neeze gonna go off stage, throws out the recovery there. Likely wouldn't have KO'd despite the fact that Godly's very damaged, but the side air should, yep, get the finisher there. And Neeze, he has primed gauntlets as his next weapon.
Yeah, he's lined up what could be a 2-to-1 lead. We said it before. You know, it's not like Neeze didn't just beat Acno as well in the winner's side. So this could be Neeze not just beating 1, but 2. The 2 titans of EU potentially. That's a little early to call, of course, because this is still a best of 5. We see recovery to come out to get that KO, but he's definitely making a good attempt at trying to get that W.
That was really well done from Godly there. Kind of recognized that was a similar situation to earlier where he got caught by the end sig. This time he goes down, and he's able to punish from below with that recovery. Outspaces the side sig, but he can't get much else.
Godly starting to get him. There we go. Gets the neutral light into the jump read with the nair. And he's getting a lot more stray hits. If you want to see Godly do well, you need to see these Katars kind of pop off right now. Get him close to that damage, but that should be enough as we see Neeze. Duke has gone up 2-1 here over Godly.
His boots are so good, like you said. They were made for walking, but now they're running all over Godly. And Godly needs to find something different. Every time he starts to find some momentum, it's just a little too late, and Neeze just gets hit after hit.
If he continues to do this well with the boots, he's going to be able to get free real estate in New York pretty soon. Like, this is working incredibly well as the Tims are out here and they're getting the job done. I mean, he's just standing so tall right now. It's looking so good in the way that he's kind of just looked up to Godly and said, look, I don't care how high you may feel like you are. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you may be a Titan, but I'm taking you down. Again, reminder, this could be Agno and Godly, both of them going down to Neeze potentially here in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we talked up Neeze, but, like, the fact of the matter is he is doing so well. Currently up 2-1 over Godly and forcing Godly off his stubborn pick of the Asuri over to the Zol. It's going to have an X, it's going to have a cannon, and it's going to have a little bit more single hit trade potential here with that high strength.
I think you're right on the money with the single hit trade potential. I feel like before he was getting his hits, but he was only getting one, and that's not normal. So at this point, it's like, look, I can get my hits. I'm going to make sure they all count, though, as we've seen basically just 4 anti-airs has equaled what his KO percentages for him right now.
Yeah, he's definitely put out a lot of damage, but can he land as Neeze hits the side sig? Godly's got horizontal movement. The side air gets him back up safely. Outspaces, doesn't hit the downlight for the nair. Nair's not enough.
I really like how Godly approached that too. Said, look, let me just back off, wait for you to just land, see if you try to get really aggressive here, and it doesn't lead to anything, but Godly does end up finding the knockout right there, and that's going to give him his first lead in a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely been a bit since he's had a lead over Neeze. He's going to be sticking with the cannon here too. He had his opportunity to pick what weapon he wanted, but it won't matter as Neeze hits that recovery and basically negates any lead Godly had.
Yeah, and also just that fear of cannon, having that super explosive potential to get that early knockout on you on the side too, will maybe check Neeze, but Neeze's control at the side has been so good, gets the Sair, pushes him over to the ledge, catches the end lights once again, and he closes it out potentially right now. Does he close it out the bottom? No, he just missed the ground pound.
But still, the threats are there. Godly did not attack back. He was finding no responses to Neeze in this entire offstage engagement as he gets a 4-piece onto Godly, disarms him as well, and Godly goes low, avoids the end light, but he's still just trying to find a route back onto the stage.
That was 2 times in a row that he had an immaculate edge guard, barely missing the first one. The second one got the job done, and we're looking at what could be Neeze getting a 3-1 W here as he builds up the damage again, sends him back on that time, trying to get the falling nair to continue to get that Sair and build up that damage.
I mean, this is Godly we're talking about, somebody who has never placed outside of the top 2 in a European tournament, including the World Championship of 2022. And right now, Neeze is 1 stock away from forcing Godly to his first ever bronze medal, but he hits the down air.
All right, this is where Godly has earned that right to that name. He goes God mode sometimes in these last stock situations, so you cannot be too comfortable with it. You see he's looking for it, might go for it right now, tries to catch him on the landing to get that reset so he could jump back off to go for that Sair, but now he's in a bad position here against Neeze.
Oh, gets beaten out. These side airs have been just stuffed by Neeze with the neutralites. Happened on the boots, happened on the gauntlets. Down sig, spaces it out, but he doesn't have the timing. The neutralite comes out so quick for Neeze.
Godly just hunting for a weapon at the moment, gets to the axe. Meanwhile, Neeze is looking for one more good guess to possibly knock him out now. Endlight's going to send him back off stage, misses out on that Sair, and he is just barely missing the closer of the game.
Neeze is 1 side air away from putting this away. Godly trying to maintain this corner pressure. Neutral sig, but he lets go, and Neeze gonna take out Godly 3-1.
He bet it all on the neutral sig. He expected him to recover high, but Neeze played just around it, and Godly falls here at 3rd place. You mentioned the stat, and the stats continue to just not be in favor of people when they get brought up. His very first ever 3rd place. Not top 2 finish at an EU tournament. That is an absurd record to have, but these plays here, that one right there, just barely missing the closeout, but the follow-up one did get the job done as the weapon toss forced him to dodge away, had nothing to follow up, and Neeze's counter pick over to Tezca was in fact the right answer.
Godly, he got 2nd place at the World Championship, and unfortunately his loss really just kind of deflates a lot of people. But either way, it's been quite tragic. Godly has his first ever bronze medal. Neeze now gets to go into the grand finals against